When the alpha teaser dropped, I personally didn't find anything glaringly wrong with it. I noticed the criticism floating around, but honestly, the whole thing became downright hilarious to me when people started comparing it to Dhurandhar. So this video is based on a few thoughts I have regarding this ongoing drama. So let's get started. This entire discourse started the second the alpha teaser arrived. Suddenly, Dhurandhar fans flooded the timeline calling the alpha teaser trash and myth. At first, I brushed it off as just personal opinion, but then they started claiming that Dhurandhar is the real, authentic spy cinema and alpha is not. It feels like a calculated agenda to pit one specific type of filmmaking against another. I don't consider Dhurandhar an authentic spy film at all, and I will get to the reasons why in a moment. Then when SRK praised the Alpha team, these trolls shifted their targets to him. Now they are labeling Alpha as work and fake, while continuously championing Dhurandhar as the gold standard of real spy cinema. Don't get me wrong, both Dhurandhar movies have fantastic production quality and excellent art direction, but let's call a spade a spade. These movies feel less like spy thrillers and more like a fantasy tailored for the right wing. The storyline of the first part is practically a joke. In reality, the actual incident in Liari was just a local gang war fought over territorial control. The police was stepped in and eliminated the criminals in an encounter. That's it. The real life Rahman Dakid was a local gangster, but the movie takes this local criminal artificially links him to a massive terrorist attack in India, with which he had zero connection, and then introduces an Indian spy as the mastermind behind the operation. It rewrites actual history to serve a specific narrative. Sure, they didn't claim it was a biopic, but using an inspired by real incident tag just to sell a wildly exaggerated, fabricated story is a massive blunder. It gets worse in Dhurandhar The Revenge. This one felt like an elaborate PR exercise to whitewash the harsh realities of demonetization. The film completely ignores how much ordinary citizens suffered during that period and instead repackages the entire event as some heroic masterstroke moment. To top off the fantasy, Dawood Ibrahim was shown as a weak character in this film, a fugitive the real world hasn't been able to catch to this day. Ultimately, these aren't spy films, they are just two propaganda projects built entirely on visual fulfillment. In my opinion, Dhurandhar is nowhere near a benchmark for Indian spy cinema. As I said, the production and art direction are top tier, but the actual cinematic value just isn't there. These two films don't even come close to the league of Kamal Haasan's Vishwaroopam Part 1, which remains the absolute gold standard for Indian spy films. Films like Vishwaroopam succeeded because they relied on intricate writing, realistic tradecraft, and genuine tension rather than cheap political pandering. Even Adivish's Goodajari had a level of cleverness and greatness that Dhurandhar lacks. To me, the first Dhurandhar is mediocre and the revenge is subpar at best. One of the main arguments being thrown around is that Alia Bhatt playing an 18-year-old adult role is unbelievable because she doesn't look 18. Look, Alia has always been an actress with a very youthful screen presence, so when the teaser implies her character is around 18, it didn't bother me at all. Let's be honest, cinematic liberty has always required a bit of suspension of disbelief. This isn't nearly as unbelievable as a clean-shaven Hrithik Roshan playing a 23-year-old in War 2, but here is the hypocrisy. When 40-something male actors shed some weight, get a clean shave and play college students or characters in their early 20s, you never see this level of scrutiny. There is an absolute blind spot when it comes to male superstars. When Ranveer Singh lost weight and shaved to play a character close to 20 in Dhurandhar, where was this discourse? There was no coordinated troll army attacking him. At the end of the day, how a character looks is subjective, but you have to wonder, are people only making a massive deal of this because it's Alia Bhatt? If an artist's physical appearance allows them to convincingly portray a younger character on screen, their real life age shouldn't matter. If you look at the YRF Spy Universe, Ek Tha Tiger, Tigers in the Hand, arguably the first war were actually good, engaging spy films. But Pathan was incredibly mediocre. The only reason it worked for me at the time was the sheer nostalgia and joy of watching SRK back on the big screen after ages. Even then, I had this gut feeling that if they kept milking this exact same template, the universe would slide off their hands. And that's exactly what happened. Tiger 3 and War 2 couldn't even maintain a basic level of quality. Watching War 2, I was genuinely caught between laughing and crying. It was pure cinematic torture in my opinion. When a universe relies so heavily on star power that it completely forgets to write a coherent script, disaster is inevitable. If they keep recycling this same tired formula, they are heading for a massive box office reality check. Now, I didn't hate the alpha teaser, but I did notice people on Twitter pointing out heavy similarities to La Femme Nikita. Since I haven't seen that film, I can't speak on it with absolute authority. But I did check out a short clip of it, and yeah, it does look strikingly similar to Alpha. Let's hope it's an official adaptation or a respectful homage rather than uninspired ripoff. This brings me to my final point. Siddharth Anand's War and Pathan rely way too heavily on Hollywood tropes. War felt like a direct mix of the November Man and John Woo's Face Off. Meanwhile, Pathan borrowed so heavily from Mission Impossible Rogue Nation that the characters of Jim and Solomon Lane felt almost identical in their motivations and execution. But what's weird is that with War 2, I didn't feel Ayan Mukherjee's directional voice at all. It didn't look like an Ayan Mukherjee film. It looked like a movie directed by someone who was constantly being told exactly what to do by a higher up. It makes you wonder, is Aditya Chopra micromanaging everything behind the scenes and ghost directing these projects? Look, the YRF Spy Universe has plenty of glaring flaws, but that doesn't mean Dhurandhar is some masterclass in filmmaking. I will always support genuine, honest film criticism and cinema discourse, but I will absolutely not stand by right-wing trolls bullying Alia Bhatt, nor will I support their regular misogynistic agendas disguised as movie reviews. Anyway, that's my take on it. I will be back with another video soon. Bye bye guys.